They buried my father without telling me, then made me believe I deserved it. I thought I was grieving alone. Until I found the email he wrote before he died, the one she deleted. But the real truth? It was hidden in a video labeled Play Alone. I didn't miss my father's funeral. I was excluded from it. And the worst part? They made me believe it was my fault. Hi, I'm Elle. I'm 29. And I didn't know my dad had died until a month after they buried him. No call. No message. No obituary. I found out from a cousin's Instagram post. A black and white photo of a gravestone with a wilted carnation resting on top. Caption, "Sleep well, Dad. We'll take care of Mom." At first I thought, wrong number. Wrong dad. But the stone said, Raymond Callahan. That was my father. And no one told me. I messaged my cousin. Is this some kind of joke? She left me on read. You ever just stop feeling your own body? Like your heart doesn't beat the way it used to? I think mine froze in that moment. Like it couldn't move without permission. You probably think I missed some obvious signs. That I'd been estranged or excommunicated or whatever word they use in old books. But I wasn't. I sent him a birthday card just 2 months before that. No response but no returned envelope either. And yes, things had been strained. Ever since Dad remarried. Ever since new family meant new rules. He had a wife, Lynette, and a son with her, Sean, my half-brother. Sean's 17 now. Tall. Quiet. Never really looked me in the eye. We hadn't spoken in a while. But this was exile. Silent. Cold. Strategic. I showed my fiancé the post. He said there has to be some mistake. I'll talk to them. He meant well. I just wish he'd told me first. Because the moment he reached out behind my back, everything changed. He messaged Sean on Facebook. Polite. Concerned. Short. And what came back wasn't an apology. It was a campaign. She knows why we cut her off. If she was capable of honesty, you'd already know. He tried to include me, but I blocked him. Did I ever even invite them to the wedding? It was like walking into a courtroom where the verdict had already been printed. No trial. No jury. Just judgment. And I couldn't even defend myself because I didn't know what I was being accused of. But they did. They had screenshots. Old texts. Angry ones. Ones I barely remembered sending. From college. From breakdowns. From drunk nights after therapy. When I felt alone. Abandoned. Raging at the fact my father had picked a new family and I didn't know the rules anymore. They didn't share the context. Just the words. Just the rage. Suddenly, I wasn't the grieving daughter. I was the ungrateful one. The toxic one. The too much girl who'd always had a flair for drama. You ever wonder if maybe you're the problem just because everyone keeps saying it? I sat with that thought for 3 days. Didn't shower. Didn't change my clothes. Barely moved. Just stared at that screenshot. The one where I told my stepmom, "Congrats on replacing me. Hope your real family works out better than the last one." And then I checked my email. Not for messages. For evidence. Because something about this didn't feel right. And that's when I found it. An unread draft. Addressed to me. From my father. Titled, "For Elle, before anything happens." Want to know what broke me? That file was dated 3 weeks before he died. And no one sent it. The subject line said "For Elle." But the sender wasn't my dad's email anymore. It had been rerouted. Through Lynette's. And the message? Wasn't there. Just a blank page and a single line. "You were never supposed to see this." I didn't cry when I saw the empty email. Not at first. I just stared. At the blank page, at the rerouted address, at the timestamp like it was some kind of riddle I wasn't smart enough to solve. 3 weeks before he died. Someone had logged into my father's account. Deleted what he wrote. And sent me nothing. You tell me, how does that accidentally happen? The next morning I searched his email again. I don't know what I expected. A folder labeled "For Elle"? Some secret apology? There was nothing. But the trash folder had a trace of it. Just one word in the preview line. Sorry. That was it. He tried to say sorry. Someone made sure I never got it. I showed it to my fiancé. His jaw clenched so hard I thought he'd break a tooth. "I think we need to talk to a lawyer," he said. "But you don't take people to court for deleting an apology. You just live without it." I told myself maybe it was a draft. Maybe he never meant to send it. Maybe Lynette was just cleaning up accounts after he died. But then I remembered something. Something small. Stupid. Last Christmas, I mailed Dad a card. A basic one. Navy blue with white lettering. Inside I wrote, "I miss you. I mean it. Happy New Year, Dad." He never replied. But someone posted a photo to his Facebook the day after. A photo of the mantel above their fireplace. Decorated with pine cones and little gold candles. And right in the middle. My card. Face down. Half tucked under a snow globe. I stared at that photo now. Zoomed in. Cropped it. My handwriting. My envelope. He kept it. He saw it. Which meant he knew. He knew I was still trying. You probably think I'm reading into it. That I'm desperate to believe he still cared. You're not wrong. But when you've been cast as the villain in your own family, you start collecting crumbs like their treasure. Because that's all you get. Crumbs. That night I did something reckless. I logged into our old family Dropbox account. The one we used when Dad first got remarried to share photos of the house renovation and blended family vacations. The password hadn't changed. There weren't many files left, most had been cleared. But one folder still existed. Elle Old Pics. It had 3 photos. All of them low-res. Probably scanned years ago. Me at 6, asleep on the couch with a juice box in my hand. Me at 12 in braces and a hoodie 2 sizes too big. And one from my high school graduation. Dad's arm was around me. His eyes squinted from the sun. But it was the file date that stopped me. That photo had been re-uploaded 2 days after his funeral. That's when I started keeping a list of things that didn't add up. 1. The Facebook post with my card. 2. The deleted draft email. 3. The photo re-uploaded after his death. 4. The voicemail I never got. 5. The fact no one, not even my mother's side, said a word. I needed answers. So I called my aunt. Dad's sister. The last person I thought might still have some scrap of loyalty to me. She didn't answer. But an hour later I got a message from an unknown number. Elle, please stop asking questions. It's not what you think. Not what I think. Then what is it? My stomach nodded. Because that message wasn't just a warning. It was a cover-up. And the more I thought about it, the more I remembered. My dad once told me something. Back when Lynette first moved in. She likes things neat. That's all. Just, don't push her. She doesn't forget. I didn't understand what that meant back then. Now I wonder if it was a coded warning. You ever feel like your memories don't belong to you anymore? Like someone's editing them in real time? I printed the graduation photo. Held it under the kitchen light. And noticed something I never saw before. Lynette's reflection, barely visible in the window behind us. Staring straight at the camera. Expressionless. Like she was watching us say goodbye before we even knew it. I used to think memory was safe. But now I know it's just another thing they can rewrite. The next day, I received a manila envelope. No return address. Inside was a flash drive. No note. No context. The file name? For Elle Play Alone. I waited until midnight to open the flash drive. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted the house quiet. Maybe I needed to feel alone enough to handle whatever it was. My fiancé was asleep. The hallway light was on. And I sat at the edge of the kitchen table like I was defusing a bomb. The file was video. One single .mp4. No title. No timestamp. Just play alone. So I did. It opened on static. For a second I thought it was corrupted. But then the image sharpened. A living room. Our old house, the one my dad sold after marrying Lynette. I recognized the floral rug, the chipped bookshelf, the beige lamp I used to knock over during dance rehearsals. And then I saw him. My father. He looked tired. Thinner than I remembered. He wore a gray sweater and jeans. No wedding ring. He was sitting alone on the couch, staring into the camera like he was afraid to blink. And then he spoke. If you're seeing this, Elle, it means I didn't get to explain. I pressed pause. My whole body was shaking. Not from fear, from recognition. That voice. That calm cadence he used when trying not to cry. I pressed play again. I made mistakes. I thought by keeping things quiet, I was protecting everyone. But silence has a cost. I should have told you what happened last year about the clinic. About Lynette. About the money. But I didn't. Because I thought you hated me enough already. He looked down. Took a long breath. I tried to send you an email. I wanted you to know, it wasn't me who pushed you away. Then he said something I'll never forget. She told me if I reached out, she'd tell Sean what really happened the night he fell. And he'd never forgive me. The room spun. Because now I wasn't watching a goodbye. I was watching a hostage video. I paused it again. Backed it up. Replayed that line, what really happened the night he fell. What the hell was that supposed to mean? Sean had a broken arm once a few years back. They told everyone it happened during football practice. But I remembered Dad being weird that week. Quiet. Withdrawn. He canceled our lunch plans. Didn't text back. My breath caught. Was he saying Lynette did it? I let the video keep playing. She found your old messages. The ones you wrote after the wedding. The voicemail where you said she was cold and controlling. I tried to explain you were angry, venting. But she called you a threat. A threat. She told the church. Told Sean. Told my lawyer. That you'd been emotionally unstable for years. I covered my mouth. Elle, I never believed her. Not once. But the deeper I got, the harder it was to fight. She changed the locks on our accounts. She had power of attorney after the clinic. And I let her. He wiped his face. I'm sorry. For not protecting you. For letting someone else rewrite who you are. That's when I lost it. I sobbed like something in me had been torn open. Because that was the proof. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't the angry daughter who burned every bridge. I was a target. And the funeral silence? That was the final punishment. You probably think this is where I flipped the table, called the police, blew everything wide open. I wish. But trauma doesn't make you brave. It makes you cautious. Because when you find out your own father died surrounded by people who hated you, people who made sure his last words never reached you, you don't scream. You get quiet. You start planning. The next morning I confronted my fiancé. I need you to listen to something, I said. I played the video. He watched in silence. Didn't interrupt once. When it ended, he said one sentence. We're going to burn them down. That was the moment something in me clicked. The version of me who begged for crumbs, she died. The woman left behind? She wanted the whole truth. So we started digging. Into property records. Medical filings. Guardianship paperwork. And that's when we found it. My dad had named me as a beneficiary on a private retirement account 2 years ago. But after he was hospitalized, that account had been closed. I used to think erasure was something that happened in history books. But I watched it happen to me, in real time. The financial document listed a legal signature authorizing the closure. The name? Lynette Callahan. The date? 4 days after his stroke. While he was still unconscious. You'd think once you have proof things would get easier. That the fog would lift and you'd finally know where you're going. But the truth is, once you know what people are capable of, you don't feel safe anywhere. Not even in your own skin. We didn't go to the police. Not yet. We needed more. Fraud cases involving power of attorney are notoriously hard to prove. Especially if the accused is the surviving spouse. And Lynette? She was careful. She knew how to frame everything as concern. Family. Mental health. I spent those weeks building a war chest. Screenshots. Emails. Backup copies of old voicemails. I combed through my own text history like it was a crime scene. And every time I found one of my bad moments, a drunk voicemail, a bitter message, I documented the date, the reason, the context. Because context is what abusers erase first. I didn't leave the house much. Didn't answer friends' messages. I think they thought I was grieving. Which, in a way I was. But not the way they assumed. It's hard to grieve someone you're still uncovering. It's hard to mourn a man who died inside a cage he never admitted existed. I started whispering to myself in the shower. Little things. He tried. You're not crazy. They wanted you gone for a reason. You ever say something out loud just to make it real? One night I stood in front of the mirror, holding the printed photo of my graduation. I said, she wanted me gone. And my fiancé, he was brushing his teeth behind me, froze, turned, then nodded, quietly, like he'd been waiting for me to say it out loud. Here's the thing no one tells you about being vilified. It spreads. Like mold. A week after we found the forged signature, I got a call. Blocked number. It was my cousin. The one who posted the Instagram grave photo. She sounded tense. Paranoid. I didn't know you didn't know, she whispered. I swear, Elle. I thought you were told. Lynette said you. And then she stopped. I heard something in the background. A voice. Male. Muffled. Then the line went dead. She hasn't answered since. That night my fiancé brought me soup. I hadn't eaten much in days. I just kept sorting flash drives, color-coding documents like some broken archivist. He sat next to me and said, you don't have to prove anything to me. But if you want to go public, I'll help you. Whatever that looks like. And I said the one thing I'd been holding in. She didn't just steal money. She stole who I was to him. Because that's what grief becomes, when someone rewrites the ending. It's not just about loss. It's about identity theft. Emotional erasure. And now the world sees me as the angry, unstable daughter who didn't even show up to her father's funeral. No one asks why. They just whisper. I cleaned the apartment that Friday. Not because it was messy, because I needed to pretend something was still in my control. I scrubbed the bathroom floor until my fingers stung. I made lunch. I brushed my hair for the first time in a week. I didn't cry. And then I did something terrifying. I replied to Sean's last message. The one where he said, she knows why we cut her off. I typed. No, I don't. And neither do you. Let's talk, just us. He read it. Didn't respond. Until the next morning. Sean sent one sentence back. Check the lockbox in Dad's closet. You'll understand everything. He didn't include an address. Which means one thing. He knows I already know where it is. I hadn't set foot in that house in almost 2 years. Not since the week after Dad's second wedding. It was a Saturday then. I brought lemon cake. Tried to play nice. Lynette gave me a tour like I was a guest, not a daughter. Every wall had rules. Every rug had purpose. Sean said 5 words to me the entire visit. Do you want more tea? And Dad was tired. Not sick yet. Just quieter. Like the house had a mute button he didn't know how to turn off. But now I was back. Outside. Keys still worked. That surprised me. I told myself maybe Sean had given me a silent green light. Or maybe Lynette just hadn't expected I'd ever come back. It smelled different. The living room was pristine, too pristine. Like no one actually lived there. But the bookshelf still had his detective novels. The one I got him for Father's Day still had my old sticky note inside. Stop working and read this. I went straight to the closet. Bottom shelf. Far right. Exactly where I remembered it. A gray metal box with a worn brass latch. Inside. A stack of printed emails. A handwritten letter. 1 USB. And a sealed envelope labeled. If Elle ever asks. I opened the envelope first. The handwriting wasn't his. It was hers. Lynette. 3 lines. All caps. If she comes digging, you tell her this wasn't her place anymore. He had a new life. She doesn't get to come back now that it's convenient. My hands went numb. She'd written this before he died. Anticipating I'd show up. Anticipating grief. And she turned it into trespassing. I opened the USB on my laptop in the car. Locked the doors. Shaking. Inside. Bank statements. A voice memo. A skin of a signed POA document. With a signature that looked nothing like my father's. I hit play on the memo. And there it was. His voice. I didn't sign the third one. She said it was just paperwork for insurance. I was sedated. I told her no. She said, then I'll make it yes. He sounded scared. Weak. Like the man I knew was drowning inside his own life. Then another voice came in. Hers. If you say anything, Ray, I swear to God I'll make sure your daughter never sees a cent. Not from this house, not from the fund, not from your name. She'll remember you as a coward. So don't test me. I stopped the tape. Opened the car door. Vomited in the driveway. You ever find out you were targeted? Like someone built a character version of you, just so they could destroy it? That's what it felt like. I sent Sean a photo of the envelope. His reply came fast. She said you screamed at Dad. She said you made him sick. I believed her. I'm sorry. I just typed back. It's not your apology I need. The next day Lynette called me. I didn't even know she had my number. But I answered. She didn't start with hello. She started with this. Whatever you think you found, it won't hold up in court. Her voice was tight. Controlled. The voice of someone used to being the narrator. I said nothing. Let her keep talking. Raymond made choices. You didn't like them, so you lashed out. I protected this family the way he asked me to. You were chaos, Elle. Always were. I asked one question. Did you read the email he wrote to me? Silence. Then click. She hung up. That was her answer. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I sat down and wrote out everything. Timeline. Evidence. File references. Screenshots. Audio transcript. I built a dossier. Because if you can't get justice in court, you take it to the court of public opinion. That night, I posted the voice memo to a private Reddit thread. Not under my name. But I made it searchable. Traceable. And I sent a copy to her church. Let her try to smile through that. She said I was too dramatic to be trusted. I say she's too calm for someone who just got exposed. The next morning, someone had egged my car. And in the mailbox was a typed note. Back off or you'll regret it. No signature. But the return address? Was her street. The eggs on my windshield were already crusted by the time I found them. Yellow shards baked into the glass under a punishing afternoon sun. There were 6 of them, splatters aimed right at the driver's side. Calculated. Not random. I didn't flinch. Just turned the wipers on and watched them smear across the glass like paint. I think I actually laughed. Because when people escalate to vandalism, it's not power, it's panic. I didn't tell my fiancé right away. Not because I wanted to hide it, because I wanted to see if it would happen again. It did. 2 days later, someone slashed one of our tires. Clean cut. Front passenger side. No cameras caught it, but my neighbor's kid said a silver Honda had idled outside for a while. Guess what Lynette drives? You ever try to prove you're being threatened by someone who smiles in public and signs emails with best and blessings? People don't want to believe women like her are capable of war. Especially not church-going stepmothers with pearl pins and perfect fruit trays. But that's what makes them so effective. They use perception as a weapon. And suddenly everyone has an opinion on your tone, your volume, your patterns. I started getting messages. Old friends. Extended family. Polite at first. Then pressuring. Elle, maybe now isn't the time for blame. Everyone grieves differently. Don't air family issues online. He's gone. What do you want now? Revenge. They didn't ask what I'd lost. They asked why I was making noise about it. But noise was the only thing keeping me from disappearing entirely. My fiancé tried to help. He offered to drive me to and from work. He emailed the pastor of Lynette's church with the transcript from the USB audio. No reply. But 2 days later he got a call from HR. Hey, we've gotten a couple anonymous concerns about your fiancé. Something about instability. That's when I knew. She wasn't trying to silence me. She was trying to erase me twice. First from my father's will. Now from my own life. So I shut it all down. I changed my number. Deleted my socials. Pulled everything back into a private server only I controlled. My fiancé set up a separate email address just for legal documentation. We scanned every piece of evidence. Triple-backed it up. We weren't just collecting truth anymore. We were preparing for exposure. You might think this is the part where I go scorched earth. But I didn't. Not yet. Because here's the part that really gutted me. Sean called me. Voice trembling. Barely above a whisper. She said if I talked to you again, she'd cut me out too. She said Dad made her his guardian because he knew you'd ruin everything. I don't know what to believe anymore. And I just said, you don't have to believe me. Just remember him. Not her version. He cried. Didn't hang up. Didn't deny anything. Just kept saying I'm sorry. I didn't know. Forgiveness isn't owed. Especially not when the damage is ongoing. That night, I got a Google Calendar notification. Shared from a name I hadn't seen in weeks. Reading of the will Thursday, 9:30 a.m. I wasn't supposed to be invited. Which means someone added me in. And someone else is about to be exposed. You ever walk into a room where every person has already decided who you are? That's what the lawyer's office felt like. Polished wood. Leather chairs. Polite nods that barely disguised the tension. Sean was there, eyes fixed on the floor. Lynette sat beside him in a powder blue blazer, thumbing her phone like it didn't matter who died. Two other people I didn't recognize sat behind her. Church friends, probably. Reinforcements. I didn't bring anyone. I didn't need to. I brought the truth. The estate attorney, Mr. Halliday, started reading in a neutral voice. He sounded like a man who'd learned how to deliver news with no reaction. Raymond Callahan. Deceased. Assets. Account summaries. Then came the section on beneficiaries. Lynette leaned back like she'd already won. Eyes half-lidded. Confident. But then Mr. Halliday paused. There appears to be a dispute regarding the retirement fund, which was closed under contested power of attorney. Her head snapped up. He continued. There is also a secondary addendum to the will. Unnotarized but present. Handwritten. Dated approximately 2 weeks before the decedent's death. Lynette interrupted. That isn't valid. He wasn't of sound mind. I said nothing. Let the lawyer continue. He opened a manila folder. Unfolded a sheet of paper. And read aloud. If Elle is not included in the formal document, please know it was not by my choice. She is my daughter, my first family, and none of what happened changes that. Lynette went red. Actually red. Like her whole body was rebooting in real time. Mr. Halliday turned to her. Do you have documentation contesting his mental capacity at the time of this note? She blinked. He was heavily medicated. Not according to his attending physician's report, which we received this morning. She didn't speak again. You know that quiet power moment you wait for? Where everything inside you finally exhales? That was it. Not screaming. Not revenge. Just truth read aloud, with her in the room, unable to stop it. The revised beneficiary distribution wasn't dramatic, but it was symbolic. A fund reopened for investigation. Joint accounts flagged. His old life, my life, formally acknowledged in the paper trail. Lynette left in silence. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't even look at me. Sean lingered. He handed me a USB. No words. Just handed it to me. Later, I opened it. Photos. Hundreds of them. Me as a kid. At my ballet recital. At summer camp. Playing cards on the couch. All saved in a folder titled, Elle Always. He'd been saving me. Even when I thought he'd given up. The next day, I painted my front door. It was chipped, weather-worn, uneven in color. I picked navy blue. Same shade as the card I sent Dad that final Christmas. The one he never responded to. Or maybe the one he couldn't respond to. You probably want a perfect ending. Like a movie. But I'll be honest with you, grief doesn't wrap up with a bow. I still have nightmares. Still double-check locks. Still wonder what else she buried, what else he tried to say. But I'm not chasing their version of me anymore. They said I didn't belong in his life. But he wrote me back into it when it mattered most. I changed my number. Deleted Lynette's name from every contact list. Blocked every mutual friend who said I was too emotional. I'm not rebuilding. I'm rewriting. And the last thing I did? I printed that graduation photo. Framed it. And crossed her reflection out with a gold paint pen. Not erasing her. Just removing her from my story.